Their mother, now remarried and settled into her new home, called often to check on them. Even though the children now lived permanently with their father, her tone stayed warm and steady. "How are you all doing? Is Daddy taking care of you? Are you eating well?" No bitterness, no regret. Only genuine concern. "Support your father," she always said before ending each call. "He is trying, and I am proud of all of you." Her blessing was gentle but powerful. The final piece Chief needed to begin healing fully. Returning to their father's house after 11 long years with their mother felt strange at first. The house was still big, wide hallways, spacious rooms, and the same old balcony reminded Lola of childhood moments. Just that now, it was quieter. No domestic staff, no housemaids. No drivers, just the four of them learning to breathe again under the same roof. Lola, the oldest among the 3 children, adjusted quicker than she expected. She took charge naturally, cleaning, organizing, and helping her siblings settle into the new rhythm of life. Tinu, in SS2, missed her mother's routines and the familiar faces of her old neighborhood. But she slowly found her footing, decorating her room and joining youth meetings at church. Bayo, now in JSS2, was full of curiosity. "Daddy, why is the house so big? And we are just 4 in the house." Daddy, who used to stay in that big boy's quarters. But soon he adapted, turning the wide house into his playground again. It was different, yes, but it was home. After all the storms, all the losses, all the pain, Chief finally found his second chance at family. Life with their father was peaceful but financially difficult. The children saw it clearly. Some days the generator failed. Some mornings they walked to a nearby shop because there was no staff to run errands. Some evenings Chief returned home exhausted from work, stretching every naira to cover school fees and feeding. Yet he never complained. He never gave excuses. "We will rebuild," he told them often. One step at a time. His effort, not his words, shaped their respect. What Chief didn't know was, Femi, his younger brother, had been watching quietly. Seeing how Chief was struggling, raising 3 children alone in the once lively house, Femi decided to intervene. He convened a small meeting with close relatives and a few of Chief's old friends. "We must stand with him," Femi said firmly. "Before he married the wrong woman and lost his way, Chief was good to all of us. He supported us for years. Now it's our turn." Heads nodded everywhere. Everyone remembered something. Rent he paid, school fees he covered, a job he helped secure, a loan he never demanded back. One of his closest friends, Cont, stood and said, "If Chief didn't help me years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today. Let's do whatever we can." By the end of the meeting, contributions had been gathered, money, food items, support for the children's schooling, and even a promise to help him restart his business. A few days later, Femi and Cont arrived at the big house with everything they had collected. Chief was moved, and tears dropped from his eyes. He wasn't used to help anymore. Not after everything he had lost. "You stood by me when I had nothing," he whispered. "God will bless you all." The support didn't solve all his problems, but it lifted a heavy weight from his shoulders and reminded him he was not alone. Life did not suddenly become perfect. There were still hard days, days when money was short or responsibilities felt overwhelming. But there were also bright moments. Evenings when Lola shared dreams about how she will live decently and study hard when she gets to the university. Days when Tinu returned with excellent test scores. Nights when Bayo prayed in his tiny voice, "God bless Daddy more." Through it all, one truth became clearer. Chief's restoration wasn't coming from wealth, status, or influence. It will come from grace, humility, and the unwavering love of children who believed in him again. After all the storms, all the losses, all the pain, Chief finally found his second chance at family. The atmosphere in Chief Aidwale's house had changed. What once felt silent and heavy now carried a gentle rhythm of healing. Life wasn't perfect, but the peace in the house was richer than anything they had imagined. Lola's university resumption drew near. Before leaving, she sat Tinu down, entrusting her with the care of their younger brother and their father. "I know you will, my sister," Lola whispered, pulling her into a hug. A visit to her mother strengthened her heart. The moment they met, tears flowed immediately. A mother and child reunited, carrying years of sacrifice and love in a single embrace. A few days later, something extraordinary happened. Two well-dressed men approached the house, asking for Chief Aidwale. "We are from Continental Holdings. We've come to see you regarding unclaimed dividends and accumulated interest from your previous investments." When they left, Chief Aidwale's hands shook. "God, after everything, you still remembered me." Within a week, the money was released. He paid Lola's fees, set aside money for Tinu and Bayo, cleared bills, and renovated the old house. Every evening, Chief sat outside the restored home watching his children play, and he whispered, "The children I once feared losing have become my greatest blessing." Lola finally understood. Love has the power to rebuild what pain tried to destroy. After all the storms, Chief finally found his second chance at family. The following months unfolded like a gentle sunrise after a long night. With the funds from his recovered investment, Chief Aidwale carefully began to rebuild his family's life. He paid off old debts, invested in a small logistics business, and most importantly, ensured that his children's education came first. The day Lola was resuming back to school, her father hugged her tightly, his eyes glistening. "My daughter," he said emotionally, "you've made me so proud. You are the light God used to turn my story around. Continue to be a good girl, and always remember the daughter of whom you are." Tinu, now 15, was thriving in secondary school, determined to become a doctor. Little Bayo, now 11, was a lively and intelligent boy who loved reading and helping out at home. The children were growing beautifully, and peace truly returned to their lives. But as time passed, Chief began to feel a quiet emptiness. The house, though full of laughter, lacked the tender balance only a woman could bring. The children were growing fast, and he knew they still needed motherly care, guidance, and affection. One evening during Lola's weekend visitation, he sat her down to speak with her. He spoke softly. "Lola, you're grown now. I've been thinking about remarrying, not to replace your mother, for no one can replace her in NY life, but to bring more balance to this home. I'll be careful this time. I just want peace." Lola listened quietly, then nodded gently. "Daddy, if it will make you happy and help our home, I'll support you. But please, choose wisely this time." Chief smiled and patted her hand. "I will, my daughter. I've learnt my lesson." The next few months were characterized by a quiet, measured approach to Chief Aidwale's decision. He was not looking for a sudden romance, but a genuine partnership that would complement the peace he had fought so hard to restore. He sought out companionship through trusted, mature circles, valuing character and stability above all else. He remembered the pain of his previous mistake and proceeded with profound caution, guided by his daughter's simple, wise advice. He often thought of Lola, Tinu, and Bayo, knowing that their well-being was the ultimate test of his choice. One Sunday afternoon, through an introduction from a long-time family friend, he met Kemi. Kemi was a thoughtful, well-respected teacher who shared Chief Aidwale's commitment to family and community. Their conversations were easy and deep, rooted in mutual respect. She listened to his story without judgment and spoke of her own life with grace and humility. Slowly, Chief Aidwale felt a warmth that was not just affection, but a deep, comforting sense of belonging. The emptiness in the house began to fill not with loud joy, but with gentle, steady hope. After all the storms, all the losses, all the pain, Chief finally found his second chance at family. After all the storms, all the losses, all the pain, Chief finally began to find his second chance by God's grace and help. He didn't feel closeness to this new friend that can lead to marriage. So he left the relationship at friend, neighbor level. A few months later, through a distant cousin, Chief met a woman named Miss Dupe. She was a soft-spoken divorcee in her early 40s, with 3 children from her previous marriage. Her children lived with her relatives in another town, so she stayed alone. Having completed the divorce process that Lola's mummy required, he is now free to move on. He approached Ms. Dupe and she agreed to marry him. At first, she appeared kind, respectful and understanding. She listened when Chief spoke, showed concern for his children, and even prayed with them during visits. Everyone, including family friends, thought she would make a good wife. Their marriage was a simple traditional ceremony attended by close family and a few friends. Chief didn't want noise or extravagance, only peace and companionship. Soon after the marriage, he helped her settle in, and with the support of his relatives, he secured her a job as an administrative assistant in a nearby private school. The first few months were peaceful. She cooked, cared for the home, and even helped the children prepare for school. She often told Lola, "You remind me of my daughter." And Lola, though cautious, slowly began to trust her. But as time went on, things began to change. Gradually, Dupe's tone toward the children became sharper. She complained often about their food, their laughter, and even their presence in the sitting room when their father wasn't home. She became especially cold toward Lola anytime she was at home. Whenever Lola returned home on holidays, she could feel the tension in the air. Her stepmother no longer smiled genuinely, and even Tinu and Bayo noticed the change. One afternoon, as Chief returned from work, he found Dupe sitting outside, looking upset. "Your children are becoming too proud," she said bitterly. "Especially that Lola. She thinks she's wiser than everyone else, simply because she in mass communication department in the university. I don't know whether she wants to use me practice mass communication." Chief sighed heavily, trying to calm her. "Dupe, they are still young. Please be patient with them. These children have suffered enough. Let's not make the home heavy again." But from that day, things only grew colder. The warmth that once filled the house began to fade, replaced by quiet misunderstandings and subtle hostility. Lola often cried silently at night, wondering why peace never seemed to stay long in their lives. Yet she remained respectful, praying quietly that her father would address the changes before it would be too late. Her conscience has always been clear on any complaint or accusation from the stepmother, because she has never for once disrespect or show her attitude. She was just being difficult and picky, always trying to bring issue between them and their father. As months passed, many things changed in Chief Adwale's household. The family business began to grow. The children were progressing in school, and life seemed to be moving forward. But beneath the surface, a new storm was quietly gathering. After nearly 2 years of marriage, Dupe, Chief's new wife, gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Chief was overjoyed. He called family and friends, celebrating with laughter and gratitude. "God has done it again," he said proudly, carrying the baby around the living room. Lola, who was on a short semester break, joined in the celebration. She was genuinely happy for her father, even though she could sense the tension building up at home because of her stepmother's attitude. Not long after, Dupe had a second child, another bundle of joy, a baby boy, and suddenly, the home that once felt balanced became crowded with new dynamics. Chief, naturally, doted on his new wife and the new addition to the family, the boys. But Dupe began to change even more. Her hostility towards Lola and her siblings increased. She became controlling, monitoring everything they did, from the food they ate to how long they stayed in the sitting room. She often whispered into Chief's ears at night, and the next morning new rules would appear. Lola, when you're on break, don't bring your school friends here again, she said one day coldly. This is not a hostel. Or, Tinu, you're always using too much soap when washing clothes. Are you trying to waste your father's money? Even little Bayo wasn't spared. She once shouted at him for playing with the baby's toy, calling him careless and spoilt brat. Lola endured the insults quietly, not wanting to upset her father, who seemed unaware of the full extent of the problem. Chief was busy with work and often gone for long hours. Whenever he was around, Dupe acted loving and respectful, serving him meals and smiling as if everything was perfect. Lola tried to talk to her father once, but he dismissed it gently. Lola, please be patient with her, he said. You know women, motherhood is not easy, give her time. Lola nodded, but she knew the problem was deeper. Her stepmother's jealousy was subtle but sharp. It wasn't just about space. It was about power. And Dupe wanted full control of the home. One day, things came to a painful head. Lola had just returned from school and dropped her bags in the sitting room as she brought them in from the vehicle that brought her home. Her plan was to take them to her room after resting for a while, for the journey was stressful. As soon as Dupe came into the living room, she started to shout at her. Pack those things into your room, she snapped. You're scattering everywhere. This house is not your father's office. Lola looked up, shocked. I'm sorry, Ma. Don't ma me. Dupe interrupted harshly. You university girls think you're better than everyone. Be careful, or I'll tell your father you disrespected me. Tinu came out from the kitchen and froze at the doorway. Auntie, please, Lola didn't mean anything. Keep quiet. Dupe barked. You children are all the same, stubborn and proud. That evening, when Chief returned, the atmosphere was tense. Dupe sat with a sour face, pretending to be hurt. Your daughter shouted at me, she said quietly. You need to caution her before she embarrasses you. Chief sighed tiredly. Lola would never shout at you, he said, confused. But Dupe only wept silently, playing the victim. Chief, torn and weary, decided to remain silent to avoid more drama. Later that night, Lola sat in her room, tears streaming down her face. Tinu held her hand. Don't cry, Sister Lola, she whispered. One day, Daddy will see the truth. And though her heart was heavy, Lola whispered back, yes. One day, but deep down, she wondered how long they could endure this growing shadow in what was once their home of peace. Lola had always been a quiet and well-behaved girl. Even as a little child, she never liked trouble. She spoke softly, did her chores without being told, and treated everyone, including her stepmother, with respect. At school, she was known for her seriousness and brilliance. She had no time for distractions or boyfriends. Her focus was on her studies and her dream of becoming someone great. When her father, Chief Aidwale, married Dupe, Lola had welcomed her politely and treated her as a second mother. She hoped the woman would love them and bring peace to their home. But things didn't turn out that way. Lola started to reminiscent, casting her mind back to when Miss Dupe packed into their house after the marriage. At first, everything seemed fine. Dupe smiled a lot and even helped Lola and her siblings with meals. But after she began having her own children with Chief, her attitude changed completely. She became harsh and controlling, watching every move the children made. She would scold them for the smallest mistakes. If a cup broke, if the house wasn't perfectly tidy, or even if they laughed too loud. Yet through it all, Lola remained calm and obedient. She never argued or raised her voice. She simply took every insult in silence, determined not to disrespect her father or his new wife. Despite her quiet endurance, Dupe found new ways to frustrate her. She often spoke ill of Lola and her siblings to Chief, painting them as rude and ungrateful. "Your daughter doesn't greet me well again," she would say. Or, "Those children are becoming lazy. I can't control them anymore." Chief, tired from work and not wanting another quarrel, would sigh and say nothing.
Sometimes Lola's mother came to visit. She often brought food, clothes, and little gifts for the children. But each time she came, Dupe would complain bitterly about them, accusing Lola of pride and Tinu of disobedience. "She's pretending to be a saint before you," Dupe would say with false concern. "But when you leave, you'll not believe the kind of person she becomes." These words always broke their mother's heart. She would leave the house in tears, confused and helpless, wondering why her children were being so misunderstood. But Lola never defended herself. She never reported the wickedness or argued back. Deep inside, she knew her mother understood her better than anyone. She just prayed silently that one day the truth would come out. Each night, when everyone slept, Lola would sit by the window, thinking of her dreams, to make her parents proud, to lift her siblings out of hardship, and to prove that patience and goodness always win. Though the world around her seemed unfair, Lola's heart remained steady. She told herself over and over, "I will not give up. I will study hard, succeed, and be a good example to my brother and sister." It was this quiet determination that became her strength, the light that guided her through the shadows that surrounded home.
Lola was worried, but her conscience was a fortress, untouched by her stepmother's accusations. She knew she had never met cruelty with disrespect. She was just being difficult and picky, always trying to bring issue between them and their father. She had always been a quiet and well-behaved girl. Even as a little child, she never liked trouble. At school, her focus was a shield. Her dream of becoming someone great was the fire that fueled her. When her father, Chief Adewale, married Dupe, Lola had welcomed her politely. But things didn't turn out that way. At first, everything seemed fine. But when Dupe began having her own children, her attitude changed completely. She became harsh and controlling. Yet through it all, Lola's spirit refused to break. She chose a path of quiet resilience. Instead of arguing, she found strength in her silence. She absorbed every insult, not as a victim, but as a silent testament to her own endurance, determined to honor her father even when his home was no longer a place of peace. But Lola's quiet endurance only seemed to fuel Dupe's frustration. Unable to break her spirit, she resorted to poisoning their bond with their father. "Your daughter doesn't greet me well again," she would say. Or, "Those children are becoming lazy. I can't control them anymore." Chief, tired from work and not wanting another quarrel, would sigh and say nothing.
Things started getting better with them, little by little. The darkness that once surrounded Lola and her siblings seemed weaker now. Yet their lives were far from peaceful. God had begun answering their prayers. They could feel it. The strange heaviness that used to make every day unbearable had eased. Lola was sleeping better, Tinu was calmer, and Bayo had started behaving more responsibly. But even with these improvements, the home still felt like a cold, silent battlefield. Their stepmother, Dupe, remained as hostile as ever. She didn't shout as much as before, but her silence was even more painful. A cold, unwelcoming silence that filled the air like a thick fog. There was no love, no warmth, and certainly no motherly care. She never guided them, never corrected them. No display of love or show of kindness to them. Never showed the least concern about their welfare or even future. She cooked for her own children separately. And when Chief wasn't home, she treated Lola and her siblings like strangers. If Bayo made a mistake, she would scold him harshly or ignore him completely. When Tinu tried to help with chores, she would snap, "Leave it. You'll only scatter the place." And with Lola, she mostly kept her distance, speaking only when necessary, but always with a tone that reminded Lola she wasn't welcome. The house lacked peace. It lacked the gentle touch of a mother. the one thing that shapes a home. Chief Aidwell saw what was happening, but he didn't do much. He was torn between love and fear. Love for his children and fear of offending his wife. He often kept to himself, pretending not to notice the tension. Whenever the children came to greet him, he would smile faintly, pat their heads and say, "Be patient, my children. Everything will be fine." But deep down, the children knew things were not fine. The absence of true parenting weighed heavily on them. There was no guidance, no encouragement. She wasn't even helping in their training. Lola really missed her mother terribly, not just for her presence, but for the best warmth she once brought to their lives. Though her mother still called and prayed from afar, her absence in the home left a painful emptiness. Lola did her best to hold the family together. She prayed daily, studied hard, and encouraged her siblings to stay strong. But sometimes she would awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking quietly, "Lord, why does it still hurt so much even after all the prayers?" She knew God was working, but she also knew that growing up without love was a wound that no one could see. And though her faith remained firm, she carried inside her a longing, a deep ache for a family filled with peace, joy, and togetherness. She didn't know when or how, but she believed that one day, God would make everything right.